Hey YouTube, what's going on? This is BillyEatWorld, and today we're having a look at the pros and cons of using a suppressed DMR. A suppressed DMR was easily one of my preferred setups in Battlefield 3, so I thought this would be a fitting start to my weapon and attachment guides for BF4. Now, I'm happy to report that it looks as though the DMRs are proving to be just as effective as they were in BF3. Now, this isn't to say that anyone can just pick up a DMR and expect to do well with it. You can't just spray like you do with a carbine or an assault rifle, because 9 times out of 10, if you do this, you're probably going to get taken down. You're really going to have to practice and work on your accuracy if you want to be good with these weapons. But fortunately, when you do actually manage to achieve this, you'll end up destroying the enemy team. The main benefits of the DMR weapon class is the fact that the weapons are extremely accurate, and they do a whole lot more damage than assault rifles and carbines. The main drawback though is that they're semi-automatic and their rate of fire isn't anywhere near as close to what you'd expect from a fully automatic weapon in this game. Once you've unlocked a few of the DMRs, you're going to find that although most of the weapons share a lot of stats in common, there are a few very distinct differences between the weapons. Which rifle is going to suit you best is really going to depend on the game that you like to play. For CQB, the only really standout weapon in this class is the SKS. Overall, it's definitely not the best gun stats-wise, but it has the highest RPM in this class, and honestly, if you want to go head-to-head with people with assault rifles, you have to have this. It's got a pretty good hipfire as well, so if you're really close in, you can really just destroy enemy players. For longer range targets, the Mark 11, the Scar H and the SVD have very similar stats, and probably will perform pretty similar in those sorts of situations. I think by far the standout weapon in this class though is the M39 AMR. It's got a pretty high vertical recoil, but it's got a balanced horizontal recoil. It's got pretty good accuracy, the reload is relatively fast, but it's got a really high rate of fire compared to the other weapons. It's got a very fast muzzle velocity, and it's just a great all-round DMR. It's probably the only DMR I'd feel comfortable destroying people at close range and medium range as well, and it is also capable of taking out snipers at long range. Now, where these weapons really shine is the fact that when you slap a suppressor on them, if you've got good accuracy and you run flanking routes, if you sneak up behind an enemy team, these weapons have enough ammunition in their clip to just destroy 3 or 4 players easily. If you're landing consistent chest and headshots, you're going to be dropping people in 2 to 3 bullets, and most of these weapons have a 21 round capacity. The key here is to be smart and to be stealthy though, because you're not going to survive in most head-to-head gunfights unless you've got the drop on your opponent, or unless you are landing head and chest shots. The reason the suppressor is such a good match for these weapons is that it lets you do this. The main benefit of the suppressor is that it's going to keep you off the minimap, which is what most good players will use to acquire targets. The other thing the suppressor does is it actually muffles the sound of your weapon, which may not seem like it will make much of a difference, but if you're up against opponents that are using headsets, it really will. If you hear someone's weapon, the first thing people are going to do is try and track down who's fired the shots. Their teammates are going to come up on their minimap, and if none of their teammates are around, they're going to go on the defensive, which isn't what you want when you're playing with the DMR. Now, unfortunately, the suppressor doesn't come without any drawbacks. The 2 biggest drawbacks is the fact that your muzzle velocity is going to be a lot lower with the suppressor attached, which means you're going to have to lead your targets a lot more, which is something that you can get used to. But it is going to make hitting those long-range targets a lot harder, especially if the target is moving. The other thing the suppressor is going to do is it's going to add a 20% penalty to your hipfire, which can be easily countered with the laser sight or with an ergo or a vertical grip. Now just remember, these weapons don't have very good hipfire to begin with, so you probably don't want to be hipfiring all the time like you would with a PDW. But just be aware that when you're in close quarters, half the time, the player that reacts first is the player that will win the gunfight. Often the difference in time to kill between weapons is only a fraction of a second, so if you can react faster, that's going to be a far more important thing than having a faster firing weapon. So don't be afraid to open up with some hip fire if you're using a DMR at very close range. Anything beyond point blank range though, you really want to start aiming down sights, because unlike someone with a fully automatic weapon, you can't afford to miss even 1 shot. Now some of you guys are probably thinking, why don't you put a suppressor on a carbine or an assault rifle? And sure, this is a great tactic as well. But the fact is, these weapons are limited to medium range engagements at best. I know some people will say that assault rifles and carbines can take out targets at long range, but it's not going to happen on a consistent basis, and you're just going to run through ammunition trying to hit your target, especially if you've got a suppressor on. So anyway guys, I hope this video inspires you to go out and unlock your DMRs, because I guarantee you're going to have a lot of fun getting those flanking kills and potentially winning games for your team through just a little bit of tactical thinking and preparation and some nice stealthy maneuvers. As always, thanks heaps for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe. I'll be back in the next few days with some more Battlefield 4 videos and some other stuff that I've been working on, so stay tuned.